morning, everybody. We have reached our final one, and apologies to yesterday's coffee. That'll be the first one we hit next week with an espresso hit, just to try to make up for that. I mean, we paid for this box. We don't owe anybody anything for it. You know, we paid for it. This is, you know, so it's not like these are all sponsored anything. I'm just doing them because it's fun. This is Thunderkiss Coffee. This is the final one. It's Guatemala. A lot of words. El Paricio. Tasting notes: syrupy sweet, melted milk chocolate, coffee cherry, orange blossom. Coffee cherries are funny. They're grassy. They're like sweet grassy. It's really kind of nice, actually. Peach jam. All of these things are interesting. So this is a light medium. Thunderkiss Coffee. www.thunderkiss.coffee. Okie dokie. Smoky. Today's an interesting one. It smells nice. I took my car in for service this morning, as I do every once in a while, every 10,000 miles. It's actually been barking at me that the service was due because it's either so many months or so many miles. And generally I go by miles and not months. So I've not been driving as much as I used to. I used to drive a lot because I would drive to work. That is not a problem anymore. So the mileage has been staying down. I'm at like 94 to between 93 and 94,000 miles on it. So took it in, saw my service guy. Service guy there is really great. I like all the people that work there. The sales guy, we had a nice long conversation because they have a Porsche 911 GTS Targa top that's blue. Here are the pictures, so you can drool along with me if that's your thing. They also had a Spider there with the horrible convertible top. I took some pictures of it. Once I got the second picture of it, he came over and started talking, so I kind of gave up pictures. And there were actually two GTS Targa tops there, the blue one, and then there was it wasn't pink, it was more like a soft maroon color, if that's such a thing. It was a Targa top, not my color choice by any stretch of the imagination, but again, it's a Porsche Targa top, which is really kind of cool. And to see two of them, I mean, used, yes, 2023s, I think, but to see two of them in a showroom, that's really amazing, actually. They're just really cool cars. They're like the pinnacle of both GTS 911, to me, GTS 911s and convertible tops, because Targa tops are so cool. It's almost like you're in a hot tub of Porsche. You know, the back glass is sweeping and giant, and then you've got this nice thing that's a T-top, except there's no T, it's just a straight I. And then, you know, you got a really nice big windshield. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous car, in my humble opinion. Anyway. So I went over there, and with my blue Nissan Stanza. I own a Macan GTS. I've shown it several times. It's a 2017, and I love the car. It's an amazing vehicle. I pay it off this month. Score after 5 years. Incredibly fortunate to have gotten the deal I got at the time that I got it. If I'd have waited another month, the price on that GTS would have gone up at least $6,000, because it was about the time of the car shortage. Used cars and new cars. There was the shortage because of COVID. It was like 2020, basically. So very, very fortunate, very privileged to have been able to get that. So I took it in. It's in there now. It's going to get an oil change. It's going to get $1,000 worth of whatever needs to be done maintenance-wise done. And they're going to check on the brakes to see if I need to be in a hurry to get new brakes, because I'm sure they're getting there. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to drink the coffee today, and I might split this one into two. Well, I'm going to have to split this one into two because we're going to do our coffee, and then I'm going to do a supplemental video on what I have outside. The last time it was a 2024 Macan T, which is the 4-cylinder turbo version of the Macan. Now, a Macan is a Macan, unless you stick a 4-cylinder in it, and then it's a beautiful Macan with a pacemaker, basically. It's fine. It's fine. Gift horse mouth. I'm very grateful for the fact that they have vehicles there that you can borrow just in case you come home, you have an emergency, you need to do something. You have a vehicle, you're not without a vehicle. So I'm very grateful for that, and I always will be. However, I think I can complain just a little bit about the fact that the T's are, there's no poop. There's no get up and go. So it's not the ideal Macan, certainly not one, if I had a chance to buy one brand new, that I would worry about. So that was last oil change. I was happy to have it. At the same time, I can smell you can really smell the chocolate. There's a wonderful chocolatey smell coming out of there. I'm really excited. I'm hoping syrupy sweet. Syrupy sweet, this may be a espresso coffee. So we may, that's definitely going to go through the espresso. What I have out there right now, I have the brand new Macan EV. It's an electric, it's a 4, which means it's 4-wheel drive, which I don't think the Macans will ever not be 4-wheel drive. So I think they all start at base 4s. But the machine is fantastic. It had, when I got in it, it had like 335 miles of range, which is amazing. I didn't realize that they had that much range. Now, I did see CarWow, Matt Watson on YouTube, do a range test, and the Macan won. I don't remember what its range was at, how long, but I do know that when it was put up against 4 other EV sportback kind of vehicles, it was, here we go, it won. So the range on it is like the best in class. But I got in that thing and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's got like, it's got like a lot of range for an EV. Because I think Matt's maxes out at like 300 when it's charged up to 100% in the summertime. But this had like 330, 335 on it. And then of course, if you went into sport, it averaged the range out, it took it lower, and then you went to Sport Plus, and then went down to 30 or 300 mile range. So it's got normal Sport Plus, and off-road on it. So the settings, it doesn't have one pedal driving, which, you know, I've driven Matt's vehicle, which is a Polestar 2. It's an EV, and it has one pedal driving, which means that the inertia created by the braking is enough to bring you to a stop when you just take your foot off the pedal, because it's regenerative. The braking is regenerative. So if you put it in one pedal driving, you just take your foot off of the accelerator, and the braking under the motor that puts energy back in the battery, very little, but some energy. It's why they're better in the city than they are in highway driving. It's why a gas-powered vehicle is better on the highway, because the fuel economy, it's not start and stop, it's just going, and then you set your cruise control, and then you're just going, and you're not accelerating, you're not decelerating. But in the city, because of the start and stop traffic, gas-powered vehicles are not very efficient. But electric vehicles can be, because the start and stop traffic will put gas back into the battery, basically, and allow you to go a little further than when you left in the morning if you're doing stop and go traffic. So those kind of vehicles, the EVs, are definitely beneficial for inner city driving, which is why it would be really great if they start cranking out smaller EVs. rather than trying to continue with a gigantic EV trend. You know, just put some smaller EVs out there with decent sized batteries and, you know, do that. That seems nice. Oop, 225. It's a little much. It'll be okay. But anyway, so I've got a Macan 4 out there. And there's 4, there's 4S, there's, it might be a 4S actually. There's the GTS, which I don't think they have a GTS yet for the EV Macan platform. And there's Turbo, you know, which there's not a turbo in it. It's just a designation. That's a thing that people like to complain about. There's no turbo in electric. Yeah, well, that's the designation. It's just a designation. It's like GTS. But I mean, it's still a Grand Touring Sport. You know, that's what GTS stands for. But, you know, it doesn't have twin turbos in it. So it's just more power being delivered by the twin motors, front wheels and back wheels. So I think that's a 4. I don't think it's a 4S. It might be a 4S because I know it's got Sport and Sport Plus. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go get my, I have medication up north of us. So I'm going to go up north to the drugstore and I'm going to attach a camera and we're going to take a drive. That'll be fun. And I can talk about the EV just a little bit, not too much. I try not to talk and drive too much. But, and we may go a little extra. The sounds that it makes on the inside, when you have it in Sport Plus are just hilarious. And it tightens up the suspension. It tightens up the steering when you go into Sport Plus. The throttle response is already fantastic, but it makes it even faster. It is very easy to go too fast on the highway in an EV. It was bad with Matt's car. I would dare say that this, even though it's an SUV and heavier, I would dare say that it is a lot easier to get yourself in trouble with the Macan EV. And his eyes lit up because he looked down and he says, "Oh, buddy, I got a treat for you." And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" I'm like, "Please put me in a Cayenne." They put me in a Cayenne once and I loved that thing. It's a nice big honking SUV. I kind of like the Cayenne. He's like, we've got you an EV. And I'm like, oh, because I did go and test drive it once. There was and I talked about this. The show was kind of about it the last time. I talked about how, I'll use my flower pot today. I talked about how the Porsche Mag had an EV reveal of the new Macan EV with the Dublin Golf Course, Tartan Fields. And I took pictures and stuff like that of the new Macans. They had like 3 different types. They had a green turbo that looked fantastic inside and out. And then I don't know if this was part of that. It's got like 1,200 miles on it, so I'm pretty sure it's been part of the fleet for a couple of months now. And it's really funny because I think we have a really good back and forth. The guy and I do. We like to talk about cars and just, you know, talk about fun stuff. I think he feels a lot more comfortable because I'm not pushy, you know, I'm not angry. I'm just, you know, I want to drop my car off and I want to leave. I don't even want to deal with you people, you know, because people are like that, which blows my mind. But we like to go back and forth. So he looked down and he's like, "Oh, I got a treat for you." And he knew that it would be because I own a GTS. You know, having taken the T out several times, I think twice. I think the last 2 have been the Macan T, and it's just not fun. It is a car to get you from A to B, and then you take it back. I may fake a meeting when they call. I can't bring it back today. Can I bring it back tomorrow morning? And then bring it back tomorrow morning because I want Matt to ride in it because I think that's a lot of fun. There's a charging cable in it as well. So I was going to fiddle with plugging it in to the 110 outside to see how that goes. You know, see what the display says and all that when we get back from going to the drugstore. Orange blossom, peach jam, coffee cherry, milk chocolate, syrupy sweet. I think when you start getting complex, direct flavors with your coffee, you lose me. It's not that it's a bad thing, because I'm sure the taster tasted all of those things. I get the chocolate. It's a very sweet coffee. There's very little to no bitterness. The acidity is very low. It's a very sweet, tasty coffee. But when you start when you get past like 3 notes, you know, when you get to like 5 different notes, it's like you kind of burn your brain out figuring out what is it? What are they? How for? Why for? But it's really good. I see the Thunderkiss in a lot of different places. Littleton's has Thunderkiss. I'm pretty sure there's a market when 315 turns in north of 270. When 315 turns into a 2-lane, there's a store up there whose name escapes me right now. But there's a really nice store up there. It's where I get my really good, and maybe we'll go back there too today. Ginger beer from. Seems like it's the only place that carries it too. They carry this Thunderkiss coffee as well, and it's really nice. But boy, you start throwing a lot of different tasting notes at me, and I kind of shut down because I'm like, I want to find them. Granted, this is probably done via a cupping. So, and a cupping is basically you pour grounds into a cup, you put water into the cup, you let it steep, you stir it, and then you take your spoon and just dip it into the top of the water because all of the grounds have settled. And then it's one of those things where all of the grounds have settled except for a couple, and then you fish those grounds that haven't fallen to the bottom up and you kind of throw them away. It's a lot of crust breaking, a lot of fiddling around. And in the end, it's the essence of the coffee that you kind of grab. And we, as plain old coffee drinkers, won't get all of the notes that they particularly do get with the perfect water, the perfect temperature, and through a cupping. So, you know, they're presenting all of these things that we, the consumer, the coffee hobbyists, rather than the coffee aficionados, probably won't get. But I will say, I'm getting a very delicious cup of coffee. This is great. I really do enjoy this. Anyway, I'm going to do that video, and then I'm going to stream. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up to get the to get my medication, and then I'll probably take a trip over. And for no reason other than I have a vehicle to drive that is fun, and get ginger beer that I'm suddenly thinking about and craving. And then we'll go from there. But thank you for watching today, at least this part. I really appreciate it. I'm not a car reviewer, so I don't know. I don't have all of the information on a sheet of the Macan 4 EV. I just know the fun that I had driving it from Dublin to here on the highway was really cool. I was going speeds that I didn't realize I was going until I was following the flow of traffic, but I was looking down and I'm like, these people are going fast, and so am I. Wow. So it was great. And I look forward to fooling around with it just a little bit more. Thank you for watching the coffee today. I really appreciate it. We will be back next week. We'll get the rock out. We'll do some espresso. We'll start with the one that I kind of screwed up yesterday, and then we'll probably do the Thunderkiss the next day, and then we'll find something else to do in that brew box. But this officially closes out the Columbus brew box. And the only coffee that I didn't enjoy was because it was a dark roast. It wasn't because of Kawaha coffee, because I have their poetry up there, and their poetry is delicious. It was just that it was a dark roast, and it did not sit well with me. So I just can't really do dark roasts that are roasted like that. So, and it's nice to know that. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend. We will see you later. Bye-bye for now. Muffin.